I'm Janet Glenn. Welcome to Close to Home Saturday Sampler for July of 2021. This month we are using the Creative Grid spider ruler, and it creates this kaleidoscope effect with 45-degree angles. So I'll show you the ruler in a minute. It's going to take 3 fabrics. What you're given in your kit is a medium strip. That strip is going to be cut 1.5 inches it's about 21 inches. The light, you're given a width of fabric, but what you're going to do is you're going to cut half of it, 4.5 by 21, and the next side of the width of fabric, you're going to cut 2 strips, a 1.5 by 21 and a 2.5 by 21. These are your stratas, the 1.5, the 2.5, and 1.5, and that's what creates this design going in and out of your kaleidoscope block. All right. This is great to do with just a striped fabric, for instance, or you can create all different colors in your strip set, and I'll show you how to cut your pieces in a second. And the last one, of course, is your kite shape, and they are your dark pieces. You're going to cut 8 of those at 4-inch square. All right. So let's take a look at the ruler. Maybe if I do this. So you're going to get the tip at the top. That's going to go off the top of your strip. And then what we're going to use is a 4.5-inch marking right across here. We're going to cut our strips 4.5, and then the one that we're creating, the one we're making, is also 4.5, and that's to cut our triangle shapes. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 4.5-inch line, and we're going to find that mark going down the top number down the center. So as I go down the ruler, I see the 4.5, and the number just below it is the size square to cut for the kite. So I've already cut my 4.5-inch strip of my light, and I've already cut my 2.5, 1.5, and 1.5 of my medium, and put that together. Very important that these equal 4.5 inches. Okay, so check your strip set. Make sure that you, in fact, measure throughout your strip that it is 4.5 going right across the 4.5-inch line, as I see my 4.5 here, and it just follows 4.5. All right, all the way down the strip. These are the exact same size. So let's go ahead and cut some triangles using our Creative Grid spider ruler. We've never used this ruler before, so this is good. Something new for you old timers. So we're going to take our ruler, and we're just going to start down at one end, matching the 4.5-inch mark, which is right here along the edges of my ruler, along the bottom of my strip. And as I go up to the top, I notice that the tip, or that black portion of the top of my ruler, is off the top of my strip. So the first triangle I'm going to cut both sides, and just like that. Okay, so there's that, and we're just going to turn our ruler upside around, not upside down, just around. And again, we're going to cut our next one and our next one. So you'll notice that on the strip set that I'm cutting, I have some that have a large section of the light at the point, and then a large section of the light at the base. This one would be at the point, etc., etc. This one would be at the base. So it's pretty important to keep these organized, much like last month's block where we needed to keep things organized in our Celtic twist. these go either to the left or to the right. So I'm just going to continue to cut these until I get 8. Always matching up the last cut I did. Okay, keeping that nice and straight right along the last angle, making sure this is on my 4.5, and going ahead, and I got one more to go. Excuse me. Here we go. All right, so I should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, that's good. Okay, now to cut our kite shapes. I have already cut 8 4-inch squares, but I'm just going to practice on these. I can cut more if I'd like. I could probably cut, quite a few at the same time. And this is where we're going to use a different portion of the ruler. Sorry. And this portion is the 4.5. It's hard because the white lines are right on the white paper. Sorry guys. We're using this dashed line, oops, sorry, right here, down the 4.5. So maybe it's easier if I... So we're going to put our corner right into where it was the 4 and 4.5. Do you see the 4.5, 4? This is the corner that we're looking for. And we should have a little excess hanging out off the tip here. So that's a good thing. This will not come all the way to the other side of our square. These are made just a tad larger than needed, and we're going to trim it down. So to get the kite shape, all we're going to do is put it in that same spot. Oh, I hope I can cut lefty. Ooh. And we're going to cut our kite shapes. Okay. So now we can go ahead and start assembling our corner pieces. So what I'm going to show you today up on here is I'm going to show you this square right here. Okay, it has 2 of the strip sets triangles that we used. It has 2 of just the light triangles that we were cutting from underneath, and then it has 2 kites. So we're going to sew the base of the triangle to the longest side of the kite, the base of the triangle to the longest side of the kite, and vice versa on this one. But we want to try to keep our sides, so we get this one going around always on the left or right, however you choose to do it. So let's set up a couple of these. I'll take 2, because I'm going to be working with 2, and you can see that these are totally different. Right? This one has the larger base up at the top. This one has the larger amount down at the bottom. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our triangles, and we're going to place it with our base. Remember, the long side of the triangle goes on the long side of the kite.
The base of the triangle.
Sorry, did I say that, or the side?
You said the long side.
I'm sorry. The base of the triangle is going along the long side of our kite shape. Same with this one. If this one were here, we're going to put this one on the opposite side. So the base side of our triangle on the longest side of our kite. So when we're sewing these, I just want to show you how to center them. We're going to lay them right on the edge, and again we're just going to have a little bit of each of the edges hanging off. So on this side, you can see I have just a tad of the dark kite hanging off the end. So when we sew, our needle's going to come right out of that intersection. It's not much of a groove or a channel, but it is our 1/4 inch mark. Also on this end, you can see I have another kind of a valley, and again, that's at my 1/4 inch mark. All right, so just be a little bit careful, keeping these right on top of each other. And we're going to sew this one, and then we're going to sew this one. All right, so I want to make sure that I start sewing right in that valley, and there's my 1/4 of an inch. Keep these right on top of each other. Hold on to them so they don't move on you. And then my next one, this one's going to be on this side, but I don't sew on my left, so I'm going to flip it over and place. So I just see a little bit of that background triangle, and this one's hanging off just a tad. Okay, so here's my little valley that you can see right in here, and that's my 1/4 of an inch. We're going to press these, I think we're going to press these toward the outside, toward the triangles, not the kite shapes. Okay. So here we are, we're back to where we were before. This time we're going to add the other sides. These are our empties, or our edge pieces, our corner pieces. And we're going to be making 2 triangles. So once again, the base of this triangle goes along this long side of the kite, and again just matching up so the edges, and that you just have a little bit sticking out, and I'll show you the other side nice up close. Okay. All right, so when I do this, I can see obviously the kite piece where the point is a lot longer, but the 2 light tips here are the same length. And when I sew, I'm going to come right out this little valley right here. If I can point to that, right here. All right, so these 2 little points are the same as far as the height, and my 1/4 of inch is going to come right out here. So I'm going to sew that at a 1/4, and again I have a little hangover on this side as well. Okay, I'll do that one and this one. See what happens when I flip that over? These 2 points are pretty much the same height, and I have the dark kite point hanging out, but these 2 light backgrounds are about the same height, so that's a good thing. All right, watch your cutting, watch your pressing, and definitely watch your 1/4 of an inch. That's why it's very important to make sure you start your strip sets at 4.5 inches. Okay. Also from this side. To that end so you don't lose it. It's going to go right through that valley again. All right, once again we're going to go ahead and press these toward our strip set triangles. All right, now that we have 2 halves, we're going to put these 2 halves together. making sure that we don't cut off our little points of our kites. These will probably match, they might not match. That's not such a big idea, a big deal, but just making sure that these 2 points come in contact and you don't miss any. So what I like to do is get that lined up at the end and lined up at the end. They should be approximately the same size piece. All right, so I'm going to pin here where I'm starting. I'm going to check my point. So I'm going to peek through here. I'm going to stick my pin right between these 2 threads. So I have a thread here and here, so I know this is the point. So I'll go ahead and stick a pin there. Okay, and then I'll stick a point of my pin right into the bottom of the kite. So there, if I sew there, I won't cut my kite points off. And I just pinned before, and I pin down here. All right, so let's sew this together. And then what I do is I typically would press this open because there's a lot going on. Keep those right on top of each other. Okay, as you approach the pin, keep the pin towards you, the pin head towards you. You can pull this one out. And I'm going to go right where that pin was. Sorry. And we'll continue on. Try not to flip your seams underneath. Oops, pull the pin out. All right. So a couple more things we're going to do to this. We're going to press this seam open. I'm afraid to look. Oh, not too bad. Don't go too close, Heidi. Not too bad though. All right. So I'm going to finger press this seam open first. And then I'll just hit it with a little bit of iron. There we go. Okay, so now we get to trim this down. Last part is to trim this down to 6.5 inches. It's pretty much there, as you can see by my 6.5 inch square, my 6.5 inch wide ruler. But I like to look at the white line. Here I go again with the white line. This 45-degree angle that's coming through my 6.5 inch ruler. I'm going to put that on the same 45-degree angle I have here on my block. So I'm just going to line that up, and it looks pretty 6.5 to me. It might be a smidge off. And what you also want to look for is that your point is actually at the 3 1/4 mark, because that's the halfway point as well. So here's 1, 2, 3 1/4. And here's my 3 1/4, and you see that my point is pretty much right on that 3 1/4. So if I'm looking at this long line and this long line coming to a point, that's right there. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and trim this. I'm going to flip it around, do the same thing on this side. Find my 45-degree on my ruler. Put this side right on my 6.5 and 6.5, just like this. And if I need to trim any, I will. If I don't, just leave it. It's pretty close, right? Just a little. A couple of these little points up here where the kite is. All right. So you're going to make 4 of those. They're all identical. You could have fun and kind of play around with this a little bit. But this is the block I made right here, as you can see. It's also here. and here. This would be a great one for October if you're doing any kind of spider web, using striped fabrics. Some of the batiks are pre-striped. Those are pretty fun to use. Use your imagination. Go by the, make bigger blocks, anywhere from 3-inch to 10-inch on this ruler. Let me tell you a little bit about classes and what's going on at Close to Home. So bring your June block here finished, starting this Friday, July 9th, at 10 o'clock to get your free kit for July. You have until Thursday, October 12th to do this. Classes right now?
August.
Oh, August.
October.
What did I say?
October.
October. You have until August 12th. Classes going on right now, Newport Sales, Winner's Bouquet, Mondo Bag. I am running an embroidery club coming up the end of this month, and definitely more to come. Check our website. There's lots of items out on our G-Bay that you can bid on and purchase. You can definitely sign up for classes online if that's easier, and print your supply lists right from our website. And of course, thank you for shopping at Close to Home.